Yo, we are number 2, day number 2 of our class tier, rune tier, talent tier, and top 5 builds week. So today we're doing runes. Before I start this video, I just want to tell you guys that we have to break this down between 2 different things: combat runes and utility runes. Keep that in mind when you're watching. Let's go. So, like I said, we have to break this down. We have to kind of separate it into combat runes and utility runes. Some of them kind of bounce between 2, really, and it's kind of they kind of blend. However, I will tell you which ones are which, and then I will break it down to which ones my tiers are, and you'll kind of get the vibe. So, anyways, let's move over. So now that we're in the practice lobby, we can actually go through every single rune. There isn't like a slot in the game like there was with the classes and what you'll see tomorrow with the talents to do that, other than going into the practice realm to seeing all of the different options you have. So you'll load in and you'll have all of these options here at the front, right? You'll have common all the way up to legendary, and you can actually go through and check and see whichever one you actually want to play with. So here we go. So right off the bat, I'm going to show you guys what I mean by combat and utility runes. So combat rune was going to be like dash, right? Where you use it and it's a short burst. It helps you out in the middle of combat, kind of like, right? It does like a little burst, kind of do the thing. Then when you've got like utility, I'm going to say more like Invis, Featherfall, it's sort of utility, Wolf's Blood, Chrono, TP is sort of utility as well. Anyways, it's the ones that like don't really do a lot for you if you're in the middle of battle. It's more of a let me get away, let me do this thing, and it might trick the opponent. And it's not really something that that's gonna help you out in the very middle of battle and with your movement specifically. So like Wolf's Blood is not one of those ones that you can just like dash around, fly up into the air and kind of trick your opponent. It's one of those ones you kind of start, you can see through it, so you can see the opponent up there. It's more of a utility thing. That's what I mean by combat versus utility. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go ahead and say that right off the bat, combat is almost everything that you want, because again, this is not a game where you want to sort of feel like you're not prepared. And if you were prepared for combat, then you're prepared for not combat, right? So if you are prepared for combat, you're gonna want to use like dash. Dash is going to be, in my opinion, the #1 rune in the entire game, at least for right now. There used to be one back in the day called Blink, which was a shorter version of dash that didn't have the mobility that dash has, but you had 3 charges of it in 1 rune. However, all of the runes now are just 1. So I'm going to go with dash being my #1, which brings me to my #2, which is going to be Shadow Step. Shadow Step is sort of like dash. It's a little shorter, doesn't carry the momentum. However, it does let you go invis. So you go Invis for that little piece. It's basically the same thing. It doesn't have as much momentum as dash does. It doesn't have the same kind of movement as dash does. However, it's very, very similar. And then mainly because of its cooldown percentage and its momentum carry ability. So normal spring step, pretty decent, right? Normal spring step's pretty decent. However, you can carry its momentum with your levitate, and you can get a very, very far distance. That's my #3. Flight is also a very, very good rune. This is one that's sort of utility, but also definitely a combat rune. You can definitely like dash with this rune, and I'll show you that first. This is why I think it's more of a combat rune. You can dash with it. It kind of gives you a little bit of a boost. Also, though, it takes you completely out of the fight, which is why I think it's also a utility. So you can definitely just completely just bounce all the way out if you want to, right? Get all the way gone. Get all the way gone. Just don't have to worry about it. So it kind of blends that line of utility versus combat. And it's the same thing sort of with TP. TP, you can go short distances, you can go long distances, you can get behind buildings, you can actually pair it with class abilities, and it makes for a very, very good rune to you can just do short little distances like that if you want to, or you can go all the way up behind this character up here, slap him from the back, and there you go. Featherfall is one of those where it's sort of good. It's like, as long as you don't have someone with distance gauntlets or a flight rune, it's a good rune. However, if they have ice, lightning, or they're good at fire, or they're just gonna spam you with wind, or they have flight, it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, look at this. If someone has ice or lightning, you're pretty much screwed with that. However, it does have animation cancel, so you can just animation cancel if you feel like you're gonna get shot down. So it does have the utility there as well. So it's a good rune if there's no danger around and you know exactly how to use it. Then that leads me to my least favorite 3 in the game, which is gonna be Invis, Wolf's Blood, and Chrono. Chrono can be used. I think this is actually gonna be my favorite of the least 3, if that makes any sense. Chrono can be used in combat, especially if you have multiple charges of it. If you have multiple charges of it, by all means, just like it's one of those ones where you kind of have to not let them see where you've done it. Otherwise, what they're gonna do is they're gonna throw a flame wall right on where you were, well, I missed, but you get the image, right? So if they know exactly where you popped off, then they're just gonna wait for you to go back and they're gonna damage you there. So it is a decent rune if you have multiple charges and you are smart with it. However, it's not exactly the best in the middle of combat. I'm gonna go with Invis next. Invis is one of those ones where it does pair well with Toxicologist. You can do that damage bonus. It's also one where if you're in the middle of a group fight and you need to heal, you pop it and you run away and you heal. It's also it's a great starter rune. So you start the fight, you go Invis, you can walk all the way up to them. I mean, look at how much time you have. I don't even have boots on and I can get all the way up here with the slap before it goes away. So it is one where you can open fights that way if you want to, but when you open a fight that way, you don't have anything else. So you have to know exactly how to use your class, your movement abilities inside your class and all of that stuff. It does give you a little bit of a speed boost with it, and it's the same way with Wolf's Blood, which is gonna be my next one. Wolf's Blood is one that's very situational. It is a rune that is definitely utility based, and a lot of people are gonna get mad at me for saying this because it's my least favorite, but like Trammy's gonna be mad because I think Trammy loves using Wolf's Blood. However, Wolf's Blood is kind of a wall hack, but like I said, in the middle of combat, what are you gonna do to get all the way up there? He's just gonna come find you. Also, he knows exactly where you are and that you are in the area because you howled. So in my opinion, in this game, unless you're running squads, if you're running like solos, you're not gonna want one of these runes for combat, unless you're running Spellslinger and you can swap them out real quick. But like I said, Dash is the go-to, Shadow Step is the secondary, Spring Step is the tree, and then I would go Flight if I couldn't find any of the other ones. Tell me how wrong I am. I say this every time. Tell me how wrong I am. There's a comment section below. Yell at me about it. I know you want to. Yell at me about it. Or come find me in stream, which is the same exact thing. 9 a.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern, sort of, or whenever I feel like getting off, Monday through Friday. Like, hit the button that's red, and I'll see you tomorrow for talents. Yeah, talents. Yeah. Peace, guys. Love you.